So, Kevin Durant made his Phoenix Suns debut, and boy, what a treat it was to watch. Now, it was against the Charlotte Hornets, who are shorthanded with LaMelo Ball, missing the rest of the season, but nonetheless, we still got to watch Kevin Durant and Devin Booker suit up and play basketball together. In this game, Kevin Durant had 23 points in 26 minutes. He did leave at one point due to an injury, but he came back, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, Kevin Durant looked like his normal self. 23 points, he only took 15 shots, making 10 of them. I feel like that's the scariest thing about Kevin Durant. It's the fact that despite missing, what was it, a month and a half, 2 months of basketball, going onto a new team where he has to establish new chemistry, he was still looking like Kevin Durant as of this year. Like, I just want to pause for a second and just talk about the trade once more, because it's still very like baffling to me at the fact that this season Kevin Durant was a 30-point per game scorer and he was shooting like 57% from the field. And it's not like he's taking paint shots. No, he was taking majority of his shots from the mid-range area. So you think about that, you think about the level of player he is, and all it took was Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to get him. Now, I understand that the Brooklyn Nets wanted to restart, blow it up, do whatever they wanted to do, but that's all it took for Kevin Durant. When you look at the offseason with the rumors that were had about potentially a Jaylen Brown wanting to come or whoever else, and this is no slouch to Mikal Bridges because he's been playing amazing as of late, but I just feel like Jaylen Brown is a notch higher than him. Going back to the rest of the game though, Devin Booker actually shined brightest. He scored 37 points on 15 of 26 shooting, dished out 7 assists, and grabbed 6 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton looked like a man amongst boys in the paint. He had 16 points, grabbing 16 rebounds, and was efficient himself. And for the other two starters, Josh Okogie and Chris Paul, they combined to be 1 for 12, but that's not the point. That's not what they're here to do. They're not here to score the ball. For Chris Paul's sake, he dished out 11 assists. That's what he's been doing his entire career, been one of the best playmakers in the league. And for Josh Okogie, it was the defensive side of the ball. Despite being 0 for 4 from the field, he had 2 steals, which is big. Looking at the rest of the team, off the bench, Torrey Craig was efficient from the field. He had him 8 points, made both of his 3-pointers. Campaign didn't do too much, was solid in his minutes. Jake Londale got some time. Damian Lee got some run. TJ Warren. All in all, it was a pretty good debut for this new look Suns team. Now, when talking about the Suns as a whole, just talking about the Suns moving forward, there are a couple things to note. For one, I don't know if this is the starting lineup that they're going to roll with for the rest of the season. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul are going to be the 4 mainstays in that starting lineup. It's about that other forward spot that the questions persist. Like, Josh Okogie is there for defense, and I mean, he was good in that department. He's been good in that department all year, but offensively, he cannot shoot the ball really. He can at times put the ball on the deck and go get a bucket of his own. We've seen that in a couple games, but like, they have other options like a Torrey Craig, like I mentioned. TJ Warren might be able to slide in there, and Terrence Ross, once he comes back from his injury, he could potentially slide into there. You can even make a case for like a Darius Bazley with his defensive prowess, and maybe they go a little smaller, having Damian Lee started at 2 with Devin Booker at the 3 and then Kevin Durant at the 4. I'm not sure. There are a lot of questions and there are a lot of things that they can do at that other forward spot. Now, with how scary the new look Phoenix Suns look, I still think there are a couple causes for concern. Now, one of the causes we just talked about is that second wing position. I mean, what are they going to do with that? But another one to me is Chris Paul. Now, as it stands right now, Chris Paul is 37 years old and will be turning 38 in May. And as you can expect, Chris Paul is having his worst season to date. On the year, Chris Paul is just averaging 13.5 points per game, but it doesn't stop there. He's only shooting 42.3%, which is the second lowest of his NBA career. He's still one of the best playmakers in NBA, but the highest basketball IQs we've ever seen. But once we get to playoff time where teams are really going to zone in on Kevin Durant and zone in on Devin Booker, they're going to need Christopher Paul to hit some shots. He's trying to take more and more of a backseat to preserve his body longer. I want to just make this point clear again. It isn't the fact that he's scoring a lot of points. It's the fact that he is at times taking a lot of shots. He just isn't making them. Like, if we look over his last 8, 9, 10 or so games, you see the game against Charlotte, he was 1 for 8. The game against Milwaukee, he was 7 for 18. He had a good game against OKC, but prior to that against the Clippers, he's 2 for 8. Good game right here against Sacktown, but prior to that against Indiana, 7 for 18, 5 for 13, 3 for 10, 0 for 7, 6 for 15. I mean, this is just very, very inefficient basketball. It's worrisome. And you got to talk about the defensive end of the ball and how much effort he's going to put into that side, considering his age and factoring in injuries and stuff like that. It's some question marks. Will Chris Paul be able to turn it around in the playoffs? We're just gonna have to wait and see. I would like to hope and think that with more attention towards Kevin Durant that he'll be able to, but at the end of the day, it's Chris Paul. We know him over the last couple of years, over the career in general. Very questionable moments for him in the playoffs. Some of it has been due to injury, but other times it's just been him not playing good at all. I mean, also, you look at the minutes that he's playing. I mean, 37 minutes here against Sacktown, 40 minutes here against Milwaukee. You want him in that 28 to 33 range, and Monty Williams is playing him a lot of minutes. And this is a good segue into another cause for concern, which is their bench scoring. Now, the reason as to why Chris Paul is playing 40 minutes, or the reason why he's playing 37 minutes, is because there's a lack of guard depth on this team. Behind Chris Paul is Cam Payne, and campaign ain't really all that. I'm just going to be honest. He's had his moments for the Suns in the past, but I don't know. Those moments seem to be behind him. This year, it's been just wishy-washy play. Like, he's averaging nearly 12 points a game, dishing out about 5 assists, but he's shooting 40.9% from the field. It's been injuries. It's been inconsistent play. But on the bright side, he has been very effective from 3, which you like to see. Defensively, I mean, he just isn't a slouch, I guess. There could be more production. And outside of Cameron Payne off the bench, I mean, there's Terrence Ross when he comes back from injury. TJ Warren so far with the Phoenix Suns just has not been good at all. There's Torrey Craig, who we talked about, Damian Lee, but in all honesty, in the playoffs, I don't think these guys are rotational players. So with that in mind, I think it's going to be up to Monty Williams to really hunker down on this rotation, get it to about 7 to 8 guys. And then, of course, you have the buyout market, which could be another opportunity for you to beef up this roster. Now, for me, if I was the GM, if I was James Jones, I see 2 key players that you can add to this roster that would really improve your chances in the playoffs. The first one is John Wall. Now, I understand at this point in time, John Wall is past his prime. The Achilles injuries have obviously taken a toll on his athleticism. Still, John Wall is a playmaker. He still has the ability to finish at the rim and can hit some jumpers here and there. The defense ain't all the way too bad. I mean, he can provide something in that area. And then the other one is Nerlens Noel. Now, I don't know how likely it is that Nerlens Noel signs with this team, considering the fact that they do have obviously DeAndre Ayton, Bismack Biyombo, and Jake Londale. But I feel like Nerlens Noel at this point in his career is better than 2 of those players. Like, Nerlens Noel is only 28 years old, so he can provide something for you. Just 2 seasons ago, he was a legit rim protector on that Knicks team. It's another lob threat for Chris Paul. It's someone who can man down the middle, and you have the option of having him and Bismack, which would be 2 decent options while you give DeAndre Ayton rest. But even with those concerns, and I mean, those concerns are pretty big ones, I still feel like, and this might be a bold take, this might be the scariest team in the entire NBA. I think that the only 3 or so teams that can hang with the Phoenix Suns are the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, and maybe the Golden State Warriors. That last one, it's a little iffy. Because if we look out west, we look at the Nuggets. I'm not sure that they have the firepower to stay with Kevin Durant and a Devin Booker. I just don't believe that the Memphis Grizzlies are at that level yet. The Sacramento Kings are a great feel-good story, but I don't know if they're there yet as well. And then it's the Warriors, who haven't really looked the same this season. You have the Clippers, who have been playing awful as of late. You have the Mavericks, who have been playing awful as of late. The Timberwolves have a lot of injuries and concerns, and the dysfunction has really still affected them even to this point in the season. The Jazz don't really look like a team that makes much more noise in the playoffs. The Pelicans are missing Zion. We don't know when he's going to be back. The Lakers are missing LeBron James. We don't know when he's going to be back. So yeah, with the newly added 30-point per game shot creator that the Suns just add, I feel like I can make my point across confidently. This team is the scariest team in NBA. It's all about what other pieces they can add, because I mean, they have the defense. Their defense is still very good. Their offense is going to be very good. Their playmaking is very good. Their shooting is very good. Their coaching is very good. You have all the elements of a championship team. It's all about gaining that chemistry in the final 15 to 20 games of the season, getting everybody in their own set roles, having people know what they need to do on the court, and ultimately getting a great matchup in the playoffs. Because as of right now, they will be playing the Warriors in the first round, which would be an exciting matchup. But I feel like they'd rather play maybe the Mavericks or maybe the Timberwolves. But who knows? We have to see what the final 15 to 20 games play out for a lot of these teams in this Western Conference. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I'm just not seeing what duo out there in any side of the conference can really hang with them. But only time will tell.